Comments. Newman continues to play fast. Garrett Matzonik goes all the way to the hole, plus the foul, 19-10. And they would go on to lead 24-10 after one. And they're on their way to the regional championship with an 85-63 win. Hey, pass the popcorn in this one. It's Orion and Fulton at Bureau Valley Regional. Joseph Norton to William Clark. Chargers by a bucket. Orion with the inside-out thing working as Kellen Kunert hits from downtown. And then Fulton comes right back. It's Jacob Voss. Nice move going baseline for that pretty reverse layup. Steamers still coming. D'Angelo Dodd, high rebound and getting the putback, but Orion has the spark in transition. It's Norton laying it in. Chargers win it up at Bureau Valley. 72-62 is the final. That is a look at sports. Have a great Thursday.
It's time now for the Weekend Rundown, helping you plan for the weekend ahead.
And joining us to help sort through some of the events you shouldn't skip this weekend is Danny from the Luke and Hal Morning Show on WLLR. Good morning, Danny. Great to see you.
Good morning, you two. Very nice to be here.
Absolutely. Let's get on started as we basically end a month and about to start a brand new month. First, we have a Black Business Expo that's taking place this weekend on Saturday at North Park Mall. That's the new location this year for the Black Business Expo. It'll be from 1 to 4 that afternoon, including vendors, a health fair, and entertainment. And it's free to show up. This is put on by the QC Empowerment Network, and it'll be the 11th annual tradition celebrating culture, heritage, and community. And they're supposed to have so many different businesses and people, vendors. They're record-setting more than likely. So you can more than likely find a little bit of everything there.
Yeah, looks like it. That's awesome. We also have something coming up called a comedy hypnotist.
Yeah.
Never heard of this before, but this comedy hypnotist is coming to the Adler tonight. So this is part of the Laugh QC Thursday night comedy series happening tonight. The comedian slash hypnotist is Doug T., who also toured with, get this, the cast of Impractical Jokers. I love that show. He'll be showcasing jokes, impressions, and as the name states, hypnotism, taking audience volunteers for hypnosis. Tickets are on sale for $26 a pop. Again, that's tonight from 7:30 to 9:30. Doors are opening at 6:30 at the Adler Theater. Tickets can be purchased on the Adler's website or at the box office. Very cool. Something I've never heard of before.
Yeah, I need to envision and concentrate on the weekend, right? That's what I
Yes.
need the hypnotist to help me with.
Exactly, exactly. Well, Danny, we hear that you have a trivia night fundraiser. I love trivia.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And this is so much fun. I've been a part of it in years past, and I know they always have a really good time. And this is the Kiwanis of Davenport. They'll have their trivia night Friday night. Now, it does help their programs that improve the lives of kids in need all over the Quad City area. So you're doing a good cause and you're going to have fun keeping social. Hickory Grove Event Center Friday night. The doors open at 6, trivia at 7. $15 a person, 120 for a table of 8, which is a great price. They'll also do silent auction, 50-50, heads, tails game. I'm not sure what that is, but it sounds amazing. And if you want to find out more, all you have to do is email them. It's kiwanisofdavenport@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Heads and tails. Takes you back to childhood. We'll have to see all
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, and let's talk
Let's do
about
rock, paper,
some.
scissors instead.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Who's going to take this next read, Ava? You know, rock, paper, scissors.
Right, exactly.
The entertainment is next.
Yes, at the Rhythm City Casino, where seriously, if you've not seen Sawyer Brown, they are so much fun. And they come into town this Friday night. I can't believe we've been talking about this for a while, and all of a sudden, here it is, Friday night, coming in. And if you want tickets, rhythmcitycasino.com or the marketplace. Either way, Friday night is the night to be there.
Ooh, sounds like a great time's gonna be happening there. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Danny, for joining us on Good Morning Quad Cities, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Hey, that's a deal. You have a great weekend.
Thanks, Danny. You too.
From WQAD News 8, this is a Good Morning Quad Cities update.
Hey, good morning, Quad Cities. I'm Ava Hedges.
And I'm Joe Habersham. It's just before 9 o'clock, and here's what's coming up on GMQC at 11. Lost in the dark, found by a drone. How 2 Good Samaritans help save an autistic man in Texas.
Plus, he lost his sight, not his drive. How a legally blind teen is racing past limits and redefining what it means to see the finish line.
Temperatures, we'll be heading for some upper 40s, low 50s this afternoon. It will take a while to get some sunshine. That will happen, though, later today. Still a little chilly tonight, dropping into the 20s. Best day weather-wise this week, near 70 degrees for most of us as we go into tomorrow afternoon. Take a look at this, too. We have a weather impact alert that is in place from Sunday afternoon through Monday morning. We're expecting a good round of some accumulating snow to move through then. And of course, the track will determine how much you get in your specific hometown. After that, it doesn't look like the snow is going to stick around long. It will melt as temperatures warm back up throughout most of next week. Stick around on the 8+ app, and if you haven't gotten there already, get there quick. We've got a weekend storm discussion kicking off in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Andrew. And before we let you go, dozens of preschool students in Chicago took part in a mini polar plunge Wednesday. This Catholic school transformed one of its classrooms into a frosty water oasis. That just looks cold. I don't know why. I wouldn't sign up for that. One by one, the young children took a dip with only their feet inside the kiddie pool that was filled with ice.
This event was held to raise money for members of the city's largest polar plunge teams. All proceeds will go to Polar Plunge Chicago, which benefits Special Olympics Illinois. The big annual polar plunge event is set for Sunday morning at Chicago's North Avenue Beach.
They are brave kids. They just walking up there and dipping their toes in. I get cold watching that.
Yeah, they are brave for that.
It reminds me of, you remember the ALS challenge?
The
You got the
ice
people who are
bucket
the
challenge.
ice bucket challenge.
I remember that.
Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, ice and water?
Yeah.
And putting your body in it? And I was like,
I remember being so scared to check my friend's Instagram post because I was so worried that they were going to be
Tag
like,
Ava
I
Hedges."
nominate Ava Hedges. And then I'm like, no.
At that point, you can't say no.
You can't say no. No, you got to do it.
Like you
got to
can't
do
say
it. It's for a
can't say
good
no to that
cause.
right there, yeah.
Exactly. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us here for GMQC at 8 a.m. We do want to remind you, starting Monday, this is going to be from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on the 8+ app. We're going to do away with our 4:30 a.m. newscast, start on air at 5, and continue all the way through till 9 a.m. All right, thanks so much again for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the warm weather tomorrow.
Hey, good Thursday morning, Quad Cities. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzke. We've got 5 minutes past the top of the 9 o'clock hour, and we're doing a little mini version of Ask Andrew Live, if you will. Just kind of more of a weather update on the potential for seeing some snow as we go into the end of the upcoming weekend. So we're going to do one of these today, obviously, at this time. We'll do another one tomorrow, and then, of course, we'll have expanded coverage on the A+ app and simulcasting likely on our Facebook page as we head into the upcoming weekend as we continue to get more data regards to what this storm system is likely going to do. If you have a question regarding the storm system, again, we're going to spend about the next 10 to 15 minutes or so talking about it. You can either text it to us, it's 309-304-0888, or you can put it in the Facebook comments section here where I am actively monitoring that. So let's start off with our weather impact alert first, the details on that and the time period of what we're focusing on here for the upcoming weekend. So the majority of your weekend, you're not going to have to worry about any of this. This is later Sunday. So Sunday morning, no worries there. Lunchtime on Sunday, no worries there. It's if you're commuting or doing any traveling later Sunday afternoon, especially after sunset, all the way through the very early morning hours of Monday. That's when we're talking about the potential of seeing some accumulating snow that would certainly stick to roads and also make travel a little bit treacherous at times. Now, because we're this far out, there are going to be some fluctuations in the data. That's reason number one why when I show you a snowfall map, we're not going to be putting totals on that quite yet. But what I can do is I can at least tell you a range is what we're looking at this far in the game, with again that asterisk that things are likely going to shift here even in the next 24 to 36 hours. So let's talk about the timing here. I can at least hone in on that a little bit more closely here for you. So what you're looking at is the timeline from 9 o'clock Sunday morning through 9 o'clock on Monday morning. And this is what we're seeing right now as of this morning. You notice the snow beginning on an isolated to scattered basis between 3 and 6. So right around sunset, that continues to look like when we're going to start to see that steadier snow become more of a possibility. When would the heaviest fall? It would likely be while most of us are sleeping, later in the evening into the very early morning hours of Monday, and then we'll see the snow shut down completely, likely as we get into the morning commute. But still, there would be some side effects of that, especially depending on how much snow that we get, that could be problematic for that Monday morning commute. Let's go now. Again, we saw the first run of Future Track this morning. I showed that during GMQC. What I'm showing you first is the European model solution. I'm going to show you two different solutions here this morning. So we're going to start with the European model solution first, just to show you where this heavier band of snow is currently laying out. And you can see clearly, again, without putting numbers on here, where you have the purple to give you a range, that's a few inches plus. So we're talking 3 inches plus in this zone of purple. But again, this is going to shift. It's going to move likely south with time, as we've seen with a couple of other storm systems. But right now, it would appear if you live south of Interstate 80, you've got the best chance at some of the heftier snowfall totals as we get into late Sunday night, Monday morning. So that's the European solution. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom this back out, and I'm going to switch to another global forecast model, in fact, appropriately named the GFS. This would be the American model. And I want to show you what this is doing. So you can see, obviously, we have quite a discrepancy here. We have the European model, which is kind of targeting our southernmost hometowns. And then we have the GFS solution, which is coming in much more further to the south here and really doesn't give us, even in the Quad Cities, hardly anything at all as we go into Sunday night and Monday. This is kind of why I'm leaning more towards that southern shift that I think we're going to start seeing in the European model as we get into these further runs. And we'll get a new run later this afternoon on this. So I'd be really curious to see what happens with the shift on here if we kind of follow the GFS's lead. I will say the GFS model, especially in the short term, did remarkably well with the nor'easter that moved through on the northeast coast here the last several days. So, you know, it's got some credence there when it comes to that model data. But again, I am expecting a shift in this storm system. So What that means is if we end up seeing a solution like this here, the American model, where it keeps everything to the south, and we start getting consistent signals that that's going to happen, then we will recall the weather impact alert, and we'll likely be able to make that call early this weekend, probably as early as Saturday night, if things remain consistent. If we don't see consistency and we still, see some of the heavier snow totals coming in our southernmost hometowns, we're going to keep the weather impact alert going. So no worries. If we need to pull it, we'll pull it, and we'll do it as soon as we possibly can. But right now, it's very much looking likely that most of us are going to see some snow as we get to the close of the weekend. I also want to show you the jet stream setup for this because it is not your typical jet stream when it comes to getting what we call one of those southwest or those panhandle hook or Texas hook type storms that you would want to see come up in our direction to bring us a ton of snow. No, this is actually coming in with more of what we call a northwest flow pattern. And the storm system itself is actually being enhanced by some stronger winds aloft in the jet stream. So I'm going to try to make this not too complicated. I'm going to keep this very simple. But what I'm showing you here is the jet stream as we go into Sunday. And you notice, yes, we have a lot of strong wind aloft here just to the northwest of us. That's kind of what's providing this lifting mechanism to get this band of snow going. What we would want to see if we were looking at a very sizable winter storm, we would want to see a dip in the jet stream over here. We don't have that to the west of us. This is definitely more of kind of a northwest flow, almost zonal flow is what we call it, where it goes straight east to west. Where the dip in the jet stream is right here. And that's where it's been the last several weeks, which is why the Northeast has been hammered with snowstorm after snowstorm here lately. But no, we're just getting kind of this stronger area of winds here aloft in the jet stream that are kind of enhancing our lift a little bit more. So that's why this is not going to be a huge, huge winter storm. This is going to be one of those inconvenient winter storms that's going to mess up travel just a little bit. I do want to show you something, though, that's interesting that's coming into play next week. And it'll be I'm very curious to see if this trend is going to continue. Because next week, I'm going to put this jet stream into the future here. I'm going to take you into the second half of next week. Because what happens then is you do start to notice this dip in the jet stream to our west. This is something we have not been able to get into pattern-wise for weeks. What does it mean? Well, it means that any storm system that comes through here, and there will be multiple of them, will have access to Gulf moisture that'll be moving northward, and there will be several disturbances that come through this. So that's why, if we were watching our 14-day this morning, we have nearly a chance of rain every single day starting next Wednesday all the way through the following Wednesday. It's very active. I'm going to take this jet stream even further into the future. So you can see that what we call that dip in the jet stream, or what we call as meteorologists a trough, this right here. Let me put another pause point on and get my little arrow back. This right here. Notice it doesn't move. I'm going to rock this back and forth so you can see that. See how that dip just stays nearly in the same spot through that second week of March? What that means is we're still in that pattern of getting Gulf moisture and multiple storm systems to move through, and that could possibly bring in the chance, believe it or not, of getting some heavy rainfall as we head into early March. I mean, that's just remarkable. Now, the thing, of course, we're going to have to watch is, do we get the frost out of the ground before then? And actually, I haven't looked at this for a few days, so we'll do this live here while you guys are with me. See what the frost depth is here in Davenport. That should be able to tell us kind of what our risk would be if we were able to get this heavy rain in here in the next couple of weeks. So right now, it's loading the graphic. Our frost depth in Davenport, so how far down or how deep the frost is sitting at 11 inches. And I believe this was just updated yesterday. I'm just getting the information to load right now. Yep, 225. So that was updated yesterday. We're 11 inches down deep in terms of frost. So that is a little concerning when you're talking about that kind of a weather pattern where you're getting rain after rain after rain after rain. Yeah, we need the rain. The problem is we don't want it falling on top of frozen ground because then it can't soak in. It would just simply run off. Not to mention, this would be another issue too. If we got the snow later this weekend and we got a sizable amount, say a few inches or more, and then we get all this rain to follow, that also can't soak into the ground and has nowhere to go off but run into the rivers. Now, the one positive thing, the rivers have been running near normal to slightly below normal in terms of their river levels here lately, so that gives us a little bit of room to play, but I just wanted to point out that scenario coming in for next week. That is something we're really going to have to keep an eye on. For sure. But yeah, it's a very dynamic storm system. I would expect to see many, many more changes regarding its track. Not too many more changes regarding the timing here. Let me show you one more thing, and that is the future track run. So we'll start back with the American model, the GFS, showing, not much change with the start time here. This again is in the evening, but remember the GFS, the American model, was pulling this further to the south, which I could personally see this solution verifying. We've had a lot of a kind of a more southward shift here in some of these storm tracks lately, including what happened last night, don't forget, where we pulled that weather impact alert because of that farther south shift in the track. So, yeah, obviously, most of Sunday evening, snow, snow, snow. We get to Monday morning, it wraps up quick. Now let me show you the other solution, which is going to be the European solution. So we're going to peel some layers off here. We're going to put another layer back on, and we will show you how this is trending. So this, again, is the European model. This would be noon on Sunday. Got a good batch of snow sitting to the west of us. And this is all snow, by the way. This is not a rain-snow mix in this solution. And you see there, again, continuing to see it move in here. Now, I'm wondering if we might be just getting a new model run in here because for some reason the data stops right there. So I think what's happening, that's why, never mind. Let me get the other one up. This is what I wanted to look for. Yeah, you can see it's all snow throughout the region on Sunday. So there's no question whether this is going to be all snow, rain and snow, or rain and a little bit of snow. This is going to be all snow, no matter what track it takes. But yeah, you can see that snow sticks around for quite a while. Sunday night into Monday morning. We have an end time, right about 3, 4 o'clock for that heavier snow, then moving out of the region. So a lot of variables in play. Our goal, of course, with weather impact alerts is to at least give you a 4 to 5 day heads up. That's something could potentially be coming our way. I know that it is Thursday. A lot of you are starting to do your weekend planning. You're starting to figure out maybe you're going on a trip somewhere. You're starting to kind of ask yourself, okay, what could potentially be a problem as we're traveling this weekend? So Saturday's good. 80% of Sunday is good. It is after sunset Sunday evening, getting into Monday morning, where we may have to be dealing with some slick road conditions with this storm that's going to be coming through. I've got time for a couple of your questions before I've got to hit the morning news editorial meeting, so I'd be happy to take those here right now. And a reminder, we'll come back right here tomorrow morning, same time, on the A+ app and also on our Facebook page, and we'll see if there's been any shift in this storm track. Be interesting to see if we get a southward shift, like the American model was talking about. And then also it'll be interesting to see, too, are we still on track to see very wet weather to follow, but of course will come with warmer temperatures, keeping it all rain. We have got Billy from Clinton in the chat this morning. Good morning, Billy. You're wondering what it looks like up north in Minnesota and how this could affect the upcoming flood season. Thank you for your time, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. So, as I talked about a few minutes ago, if we end up getting the snow Sunday night into Monday morning, and then we get all this rain afterward, that's concerning, because there's nowhere for that rain to go until the snow melts, and even then the ground is still frozen, 11 inches down, almost a foot down. A lot of that would run off. A lot of that would go into area rivers. Now, one thing is we have to watch, of course, how much snow is on the ground right now to the north of us. And I'll show you the snow depth map here if it'll come up. By the way, we'll hear from the National Weather Service again today, too. It's their spring outlook number 2. There'll be one more that's coming next Thursday. That'll be the last one. It'll be the most in-depth one, by the way. So I'm really curious to see what their thoughts will be. They may change a little bit heading into the next week with that third outlook that they're expected to put out. But here's the snow situation. Obviously, there's still some snow northwest of us there in northeast Iowa. But for the most part, other than an extreme northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin, there is not a lot of snow on the ground. If we were looking at a higher flood risk with snowpack, I would want to see that deep snowpack all the way south to Minneapolis, La Crosse, Wisconsin, and into Green Bay, because you have a whole host of other tributary rivers in that region that feed into the Mississippi River. So because we don't have that, because this is so far to the north, you know, we're sitting pretty good in that aspect. But again, we're going to keep a close eye, Billy, on this pattern later next week. And of course, all will depend on too what happens with the snow this weekend. But great question. Tyler's in the chat this morning, too, with the chances of any snow possible this weekend. Would it turn out to be the heavy wet snow or the dry fluffy snow? Given it's still early, what are the chances of at least 1 inch? Could you by any chance the system shift a county or two north? There's always the possibility that this system could shift north. Right now, I don't see much of a northerly trend on this. If anything, it's been trending further to the south. It is a possibility. The other part of your question was, what type of snow will this be? This will be the wet, heavy snow. Now that we're in the late stages of the winter season, we're always talking about warmer temperatures, more moisture content this time of year because that Arctic air is retreating. So this will be the wet, heavy, slushy snow, what we call the heart attack snow. That will be the snow type absolutely with this system. Not a ton of cold air behind it either. That's why we're going to warm up so quickly next week. Chris, good morning to you guys. This is not going to be an ice event. I don't see this being ice. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to ice potential. This is the setup for the perfect ice scenario in the Quad Cities. It's when you go from 3 or 4 days with temperatures either in the teens or the single digits for highs, and then you go immediately, very quickly, to a following day that jumps into the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. That's your freezing rain setup. We have not had cold that strong in the last week. So we're sitting good in terms of an ice threat. I don't see an ice threat at all with this system, but it's a great question. How much are we expecting? Again, on the map here, the purple, it's not behind me here, but it's on the side of your screen. The purple is indicating at least a few inches. Thank you, Alec, for doing that. The purple here is indicating at least a few inches. Again, we're not putting amounts on this because it's so early, but at least it shows you where the best potential is at seeing accumulating snowfall, and it is south of Interstate 80, our southernmost hometowns. I think it's a good possibility of at least an inch here in the Quad Cities unless we see that giant shove of the track to the south of us. So that's what we know this early in the game. I know we're going to have more coverage again as we get closer. There'll likely be some more streams this evening. Chief Meteorologist James Behar may pop on and do a quick one here on the 8+ app this evening. We'll be back again tomorrow with another one right about 9:05 or so. We'll take a look, see if there's any shift in the storm track that we need to keep you updated on. But otherwise, that's all I got for you this morning. I want to thank you for joining me. Again, we're going to keep a laser focus on it. We'll continue tracking it for the remainder of the week and into the weekend. And we'll, of course, let you know if it changes either way. If it looks like we're going to get more snow or if it looks like it's going to go and be a dud and go to the south. So stick with us. It's going to be a wild ride, but we'll take you through every step of the way. I will see you later coming up on GMQC. But until then, you guys have a great Thursday.